everybody, and welcome back to some more Create to Mechanism. Today, we're actually going to be solving a few problems that I have around the base, but also doing the things that I've been wanting to do for a while. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be getting ourselves some mechanical crafters. This way, we will no longer need to use an extra component for making our machines. Because when you actually look into this thing, a lot of the machines that we can make, like say it took a frog port, you'd have to use a machine and then a little item as well as another mechanism. But with the crafters, you can cut out the mechanism. And speaking of the frog things, I'm actually going to also be making myself a storage controller for the drawers all around my base. Finally, because I can do that now at level 3, and then I'm going to be connecting that to my main storage, because you can actually connect external storages to this thing. That's going to be a cool thing, and it's going to lead into a few other things. But before we get into that, in between episodes, I have not been busy. Let's go ahead and get started. So, first thing we need is we just need to go ahead and put all these things together. It's literally a simple recipe. We can go ahead and do this for last time to make our mechanical crafters. Now, unfortunately, mechanical crafters aren't on my mission list, which they should be because they're an important part before the next sign of progression. But this should be fine. We actually don't need 3 of these. We only really needed 2 of them. Okay, I decided to just slap them back over here because it's out of the way, and also it's not really going to matter all that much. So now what we can do with these is we can just go ahead and then flick these little arrows in the direction that we want this craft to venture, and then at the end of it, we want to have ourselves an inventory source. After that, I can just go ahead and put my crank wheel right here. That, because like it's a cogwheel mixed with a crank, but I don't really need that anymore, and I didn't feel like making another cogwheel. So there we go. Now we have ourselves a little crafter all ready and ready to go. So now, just to test this, we would want to go ahead and then put in here a brass machine, not a craft machine, and a diamond, and there it goes. And then it goes out into here. And now we have our storage controller. Now, what we can go ahead and do for this storage controller is I want to go ahead and find a good place for this, because I am running a little low on space in place. In fact, navigation is going to be a bit difficult for this. But I think right here, that should be well enough. So, yeah, there we go. So now we've got ourselves our storage controller. But we still can't use this yet, because for us to use it, we need to link our drawers to this. For that, we need a linking tool. Very simple recipe. So we can just go ahead and combine all that together, and there we go. Now we have ourselves our linking tool, which now all we need to do is right-click this, and every drawer in this area, we can link to this. This isn't a lot, though, however, so I am going to need to expand this thing a little bit, but now all those drawers are linked together, and I can see right there in JEI that we now have those 3 connected together. How do I actually expand the area? Oh, I can also actually incorporate this one as well. But as for how I expand the area, it's actually very... What? What? Why? That's conflicting. Okay. Well, those are still connected. That's good. I'm not going to worry about that. How I do this, though, to connect them all together is I just need to go ahead and grab myself storage upgrades from this specific mod. And they're not actually that bad to get either. Luckily, I should have more than enough for everything to be able to fill this thing up, because I can only fit in 4 of these upgrades. So let's see. With 4 copper storage upgrades, how big does this thing get now? Is this enough to encompass the whole base? It's not quite enough to encompass the whole thing. That is fine, though, because, like I said, these are just the copper upgrades. I can upgrade these things even further with gold, and then also after that diamond, and I can netherite it. And there's also a creative one. I'm not sure what that one does. So after upgrading 2 of these guys to gold, it is big enough to fit almost everything. There's still a little bit outside. Okay, that is fine, though. So now we can go ahead and actually link up pretty much every single drawer of importance into this thing. But now that we have all these drawers linked to this one point, how are we actually supposed to link this to our main storage vault? Well, that is where we actually are going to start using a lot of the same components. Now, I don't know if I'm going to need another storage manager. I shouldn't, because both of these will be linked and I can access them both from different places. But if I do, I'm just going to use a blaze burner rather than getting another animal, because Angel is special. We love Angel. So what I got to do is I got to shift and right, or mayhaps I just right click this. Yes, I do just right click that. And then we connect this over to here. And then I can go ahead and right click this one with this storage link, or stock link, not a storage link. And there we go. Now those guys should be connected. And then after just slapping on, I can just go ahead and do this right back here. We go ahead and slap on a packager with a packaged frog port. That should be that done. So if I go in here and I see everything else, I don't. Okay, so I'm an idiot. I needed to have the stock link on the packager connected into this. That wasn't supposed to go on here. That's why this whole thing was getting messed up. And once I did that and reconnected everything, it is all connected into here. I now have access to it all. So we need to connect these frog ports, and also this way I can kind of segue into being able to do more of these guys all over the place, because I've been searching for an opportunity to start doing this and I haven't managed to implement it. Now it's time though. So if we just go ahead and make ourselves a large cogwheel and then go over here and combine these two in my new crafter setup, we're gonna get something really cool called a chain conveyor. Now what the chain conveyor is gonna do is actually not much unless I can actually get this guy connected to a rotational source. But that should be fine for right now. So what we need to do is we need to go ahead and raise this guy up by a little bit. Okay, this should be tall enough now. So if we go ahead and then hook this guy on top of here, I just need to get into the right position. There we go. Now we got a chain conveyor up there. And then we just need to get another one of these guys over to here. So if we can go ahead and just turn this guy up and then just start building this one up the same, we should now be able to, actually I want it to be a little bit lower, but we can go ahead and connect this guy up to here. Now those guys are ready. So after that, we just are going to need to get ourselves a chain. Now, this is where this gets a little unfortunate, is that this takes so much iron, but we should just need the one chain. And just like with a belt, we should be able to just connect. Ooh. I need 4 chains. So does it need more or less depending on how far it is? That would be an interesting mechanic. So then now by me doing this, I should be able to connect to there, and there we go. So now what I need to do is I can go ahead and then take this frog port right here and then connect it to there and then connect this guy right here. Then I go ahead and take my main one right here and then connect this guy to anywhere else on here. I'll just go ahead and connect him to there just the same. And then we can just go ahead and change his name back to Jeff. Then after connecting a few janky chain drives down beneath there, we now have our chain conveyor working properly. So now, if I go ahead and then ask for a brass ingot once again, it should get sent up to there. And he didn't grab it. You were supposed to grab it, Jeff. Well, we all get the basic concept, but Jeff didn't seem to want to. Maybe I just need to remove the name. Like, maybe keep the name nothing. Send it through again. Maybe this time it'll work. It should go over there. Okay. So I just can't have him named, but that should be good. So does it prioritize the one that's in there? It does. Wait, there's got to be a way for me to stop this one from sending things, right?
20 minutes later.
Okay, so turns out there isn't really a way for me to, like, leave it in there. So I had to do something, and I managed to fix everything. So, turns out the reason why one being named wouldn't work is because there's a clipboard mechanic, where when you would type in hashtag it would then add that to the list of people that it can then go to. So, because now, down here, I have all the options of things that it can go to. So let's say I want it to send to Jeff a piece of brass. It is now going to then go from there and get sent into here, and then that would then go. But I still can't get the stuff out of there. So if I instead get it to go to Jeff and then get that into there, that way I can then get it out and it doesn't get confused, because I don't want this to like start leaving one in there. Because now what we want is get it to go to Jeff. You could tell I'm original with my naming. It is now going to go to this new frog port I have connected to a drawer right here, which then gives me access to it. So yeah, I had to make a whole other export with it, but I didn't need to use another stock ticker. I just needed to add another stock link, which makes me wonder if I needed this one at all. But that's fine. So there we go. Now we have ourselves the whole setup, and the last thing I want to show you guys with this is I can ride this. Look at that. Look at me. Where am I going? Yeah, it's a little silly, but it's a way I could travel around, and I think it's a little janky, but it's cool. Now, something else I am realizing now that with me including this clipboard is I never actually checked off anything before. So we can actually go ahead and check these guys off already, because now we've already connected the whole thing to the storage network, and I've basically added a new mechanic to it. After all of that, the only thing left for me to do now is to automate ender pearls. Now, how I actually get ender pearls is very interesting. One way I could do it is by using the Philosopher's Stone on iron, but that's then going to use up EMC, because my other iron source is already going into another automation, so that's not viable. Another way would be by sieving endstone. Obvious reasons why that's not viable. Then the only other way that I can really do this at the moment is gonna be with bulk haunting, which is gonna be using another fan. That's actually very easy, especially now that I don't need to use another mechanism. And then also I'm gonna need to get myself a soul fire, which I can just get by using either soul sand or soul soil underneath a lit fire, and then it'll turn to soul fire. I think the best way for me to do that one, though, would be with a campfire, as, yeah, that's just really easy for me to get, and it won't spread. But there's still the big problem of what we're haunting, and that's slime balls. So how are we actually going to get the slime balls? Well, I've actually gotten them off screen already. I just needed to get some lime dye, which I got from smelting a sea pickle, and I got some dough, which I got just by mixing a water bucket with wheat flour, which I just used my grinder on some wheat. So I already have slime, but we just need a way of getting it more consistently. That can actually be done with a slime tree, which we just go ahead and then smelt some slime in our Tinker Smeltery and then pour it over a sapling. So that just leaves actively setting up an automation for this. I do have an idea for it, but it's gonna take me a little bit of setting up to do. So I'm gonna go ahead and set that up, and then I'll walk y'all through it.
Later.
Alrighty, and here it is. What I have going on here is I have a few shoots with our slime saplings up in here. I also had to make a slime grass, which was just a lot more of pouring slime onto things, so that was fine. But those then go down onto this shoot and separate the tree matter from the normal slime. The slime then gets sent over to here, where this then starts to haunt it, and then we get ourselves our ender pearls. I already have 7 of these. Oh, hey, and there it goes. It's actually started working. Okay, wait, do we have any slimes in this one? Yes, we do. There they go. So actually, that begs the question. How many slimes do I usually get from this thing? I have a 50% chance to get from 5 to 10. That is interesting. Okay, so there we go. We managed to get ourselves 8, and that gave us 11. Okay. That is good, because remember, each of them has a 25% chance, and there we go. Now with these 11 in total, we've already gained a good bit of EMC back. Oh my goodness, that is awesome. Now, remember, this is only a temporary fix for the EMC issue, as I am going to need to start utilizing this for a molten ender bucket, because that's then going to also involve going into the next mechanism. But I won't be doing that for at least another episode or two, so that should be fine. So now we can go ahead and check that baby off, and there we go. Now we have our ender pearl automation going, and we have ourselves a new storage setup where all of my drawers are finally connected. This was just the quality of life day. That's probably the best thing I could tell this video, honestly. So did you like this video? Good. But be sure to check out our last Create a Mechanism video where we got the precision mechanism semi-automated. Bye-bye!